Once upon a time in a small town there lived a wealthy boy named Arjun. He was the son of a businessman, and he was pampered with all the luxuries one could imagine. But he had bad habit of mocking other students for their poor looks. One day, after yet another incident where Arjun mocked a classmate for wearing patched-up shoes, the principal called him to her office, Mrs. Nair. The principal was a stern yet fair woman. She gestured for Arjun with her tone firm. "I've received multiple complaints about your behavior. You've been teasing your classmates, especially those less fortunate than you. This is unacceptable." Arjun shrugged, trying to play it cool. "I was just joking, ma'am. They're too sensitive." Mrs. Nair told him that jokes don't hurt people, Arjun. "What you're doing is bullying. I'm calling your father to discuss this matter further." His father arrived at the school within the hour, his expression serious as Mrs. Nair recounted Arjun's behavior. When they arrived at their mansion, Mr. Mehta finally spoke. "Arjun, I'm deeply disappointed. Is this how we've raised you? To look down on others?" Arjun looked away, mumbling. "It's not a big deal, Dad. They're just poor kids. They don't care." Mr. Mehta's face hardened. "You think they don't care? Let me show you something." The next morning, Mr. Mehta woke Arjun early. "You're coming with me today," he said. They drove to the outskirts of town, stopping at a small workshop of a carpenter. The man looked up and smiled warmly. "Good morning, sir," he said. Mr. Mehta said, "This is one of Boy's father whom you bullied. He works from dawn to dusk carving furniture by hand to ensure his son can go to school." Arjun looked around the workshop, noticing the modest tools and the man's worn-out hands. Mr. Mehta continued, "Do you know why the boy wears patched clothes? It's because his family spends every spare rupee on his education, hoping he'll have a better future. And while you mock him, he's working twice as hard to succeed." Arjun was silent. Later that day, Mr. Mehta took Arjun to visit a community shelter where children played with handmade toys, watching them laugh and share. Arjun realized how much joy they found in the simplest things. That evening, as Arjun lonely in his room, he thought about what he'd seen. The patched clothes, the hard-working hands, the laughter of children who had so little yet seemed so happy. The next day at school, Arjun approached the boys during lunch. "Hey," he said awkwardly, "I'm sorry for how I've treated you. It wasn't right." Boys looked surprised but nodded. "It's okay," they said simply. From that day on, Arjun made an effort to be kinder. He began sharing his lunch, helping classmates with homework, and even using his pocket money to organize small charity drives.